did a 30-day cold exposure challenge to prepare myself for my trip to North Scandinavia. But was it worth the time? Let me share you my experience and my small little research so you don't have to do it yourself. Konnichiwa minasan and welcome back to this channel. My name is Alandra and on this channel we talk about fitness, travel and a healthy lifestyle. The whole cold exposure hype trended last year in 2023, where everyone was taking cold showers, dived into frozen lakes and did cold plunges where ice is everywhere swimming. Neuroscientists were talking about it, some other health style guru people were talking about it, how amazing it is. And I thought to myself, wait a minute, I can do this myself to prepare myself for my trip to northern Scandinavia, where polar bears, whales and gnus are living. And if I'm there, I should prepare my body to not freeze to death in the meantime. Today is day 0, and before I start the cold exposure challenge itself, tomorrow, I decided I should know how long I need before I actually have everything coated with cold water. Because I actually need quite a lot of time before everything is wet, and for me the exposure should be with the whole body. Like the time I'm under the shower should be the whole time and not just I get into the shower itself, make the water on and then the time is up and I'm not even wet completely. I will track with my phone, for the sake of reality, the most accurate time. The water will be cold right now, so it's basically a cold exposure right now. But I'm not going to stand there for 1 or 2 minutes underneath the water because no. I'm wet, I'm cold, not nice, but yeah. Okay, I don't have my glasses, so if I look somewhere else, then that's because of that. We have a time of 1 minute 50. That means I need to add 1 minute 50 at least. I will round it up, so it's 1 minute 30 I will add. So the minimum, like the best optimum time for the best cold exposure experience with the most benefits is apparently 11 minutes per week. We will say 14 because it's easier to calculate. That means 2 minutes a day because we have 7 days, plus 1 minute 30 for getting under the shower. So I have like 3 minutes 30 from the start to the end when I get out and experience the whole thing and ask myself why I'm doing this every single day for the next 30 days. Nice! Why am I doing this? For real. Anyways. I know, I am late to this party. But that doesn't mean that I never watch those people freezing and looking for those little benefits that cold exposure should bring with. But what are the benefits of cold exposure?
We finally have some good science to put to this, and unfortunately it wasn't from my lab. This is the beautiful work of Susanna Soberg, who's over in Scandinavia, published a paper in Cell Reports Medicine showing that the threshold you're trying to hit each week is at least, you can do more, but at least 11 minutes of uncomfortable but safe cold exposure per week total. So that could be 3 minutes Monday, 3 minutes Wednesday, so on, to 11 minutes, and 57 minutes per week minimum
so
of sauna.
precise.
That's what they found. What did they find? Increases brown fat thermogenesis, thereby metabolism, thereby comfort being, in cold, etc. Clearly there's a resilience effect. Clearly there's a dopamine increasing effect, and clearly you can do more. You could do all that in one day, or you could spread it out throughout the week, or you could do more. It kind of depends on what you're shooting for.
Deliberate cold exposure causes a significant release of epinephrine and norepinephrine, which are adrenaline and noradrenaline, in the brain and body. And these chemicals let us feel alert, focused, awake, energized. Cold exposure can also be used to train mental resilience because you have to bring up a lot of willpower to actually do cold exposure in a regular basis, like daily. Cold exposure also releases dopamine within the body, which affects the mood, focus, energy, and attention. A small little side effect of cold exposure is that you are activating brown fat cells if you try to not shiver under this cold condition. And these brown fat cells have as a function to waste energy, so they burn fat in the body to produce heat in the body. But don't try to lose weight with this method because it is not significant enough to actually have a change. But it's a small little bonus plus, I guess. Last but not least, cold exposure also helps against inflammation. So if you are doing a hard workout and do a cold exposure, like under the shower afterwards, you help your muscles to regain strength or to recover quicker than if you don't shower cold afterwards.
Good morning, so it's around 7 in the morning and today is day 1 of the cold exposure challenge and I am definitely not feeling the best. So normally if you are going to get sick or you feel sick, you should definitely not do a cold exposure challenge. This is really important because your immune system is working hard and actually does not need any more stress. And cold exposure is stress. So if you're feeling sick, do not do this. And I'm not feeling that well, but I will do it anyway and see what is going to happen. And I hope that nothing happens. Okay, let's go over this. Shall we? I'm cold now. I'm really cold now, so I'm going to dry myself and start the day. I am not sure how I should repeat this every morning for the next 30 days.
I never saw those papers that Huberman and Attia referred to in their blogs and podcasts, so I got a little bit skeptical and started my own little research with my research background and did a 10-second Google Scholar search. I know, 10 seconds is not enough, I'm aware of that, but what I found are multiple papers from 2023 and 2024 that are saying that cold exposure may have an effect on the human body, but there's too little evidence to actually say that it actually has an effect on the human body. What does this mean? Basically, it's saying that it can have an effect, but it does not have to have an effect. So it's still a little bit voodoo and magical, something uncertain about the cold exposure culture that we had 2023 and I guess still have.
So this was my 9th time today and I think the beginning is still super cold. And then there's the middle. The middle got better for me, actually. It's kind of relaxing, to be honest. And then the end is still super cold, especially when I'm not hearing my phone like today. It is really cold. Yeah, what do I feel right now? Doing the cold shower definitely wakes me up. And actually the water is so cold that I can't think about anything in this time. Actually, when I'm waking up and I'm still a little bit groggy or something, I don't think a lot anyway. But I think this is a good method if you are having like bad thoughts or have a bad day and just want to clean your headspace. Then actually this method should be quite good. Apparently there's a dopamine rush. Can't say anything about that. But it definitely wakes up. We will see. I'm start getting used to it, but I would not say that this is a favorite thing to do of the day. It's just like an obstacle to overcome, I guess.
The thing with Huberman and Attia is that they are influencers now. They are doing podcasts, videos, blogs. These are influencer things. And influencers always are looking for attention, attention, attention. And what I'm trying to say is that a catchy title or a catchy phrase like cold exposure will change your life because you are so alert and super focused and oh my god, you are superhuman afterwards, are things that people like to hear because it's catchy, and it's easier to say that than saying, oh, it may have some benefits, but the research is unclear about that yet. So potentially in some animals there was a benefit, but in humans we didn't test it that good enough yet. That doesn't sound nice, right? I'm not trying to say that those two are giving false information into the internet about science or anything. There's definitely truth behind those words, but they're influencers and this means they are playing our game. They want attention now. And I am not enough fangirl of scientists to forget about that. You always have to keep in mind that those people are just humans. Stay skeptical about everything they are saying and you are fine, so you should not fall into some trap.
Today is the 24th day of this cold exposure challenge. Well, technically it is the 26th day. I decided to just hang on 2 more days. And here we are. It's still cold. I don't like it, but I'm not screaming anymore in the beginning, so I guess that's a plus. My body kind of got used to it. Still uncomfortable, still not mine. It feels energizing, for sure, but also stressing. I don't see the overall benefits yet. Let's see, we have 1 week to go.
But let's put all the science aside. Did this cold exposure challenge change my life? Am I Batman now? Am I Wonder Woman and can I fly and be magical? Maybe I'm a wings now? In this video clip, I tried to explain to you how everything went for me, but if you can hear me now, then this means my audio crashed during this last film section of this challenge. Nice. So I am talking here about fancy stuff like, oh my god, it changed my life and I can now fly, and did you see that I am now Spider-Man? Obviously, this did not happen. But I will tell you my conclusion anyways. Now here. My conclusion is that this was actually a really fun challenge for me. I had to challenge myself every day to go under the shower to do the cold exposure, and I felt a dopamine rush afterwards that I accomplished it. I was definitely more awake afterwards, and I also felt this good mood thing because of the dopamine rush. Would I recommend this to other people? Yes and no. Yes, if you are healthy, go for it, do a 30-day challenge and see if this changes the way you think or you react or anything like that. If you have a positive feedback afterwards, then keep going, do the cold exposure. But I would not force it. If you don't feel good enough for it, leave it out. And that's also why no. If you are sick or mentally in a very stressful time, let's say, then cold exposure is not the right thing. Cold exposure is stress for the body. And if you're sick physically, like having a cold or something, then your body is already stressed enough and does not want to fight against the cold additionally. Same thing for mental health. If you're in a stressful situation and you already fight with a lot of things like stress, cold exposure is not the right thing for you. It adds stress up, and even more stress can lead to burnout, as we know. And we don't want to get burnout from taking a shower, right? Will I continue doing this challenge? I will continue doing this challenge until I came back from Scandinavia, because I want to stay trained to be in the cold. And afterwards we will see. I don't want to do this daily anymore because it kind of felt like a waste of water to do this every day, because I was sitting 3 minutes under it to keep the cold everywhere and then went out, and this is not the style of shower I'm usually doing. I try to keep the volume of water as low as possible. So that's the point. And also, if I'm feeling sick or stressed, I don't want to force myself to actually do the cold exposure. I skipped 2 days in this challenge and put them at the end additionally, because on those 2 days I actually felt sick and I was not feeling healthy enough to do this challenge in one row. And it happens, it's fine. I don't want to force it. So I will keep it with the flow and we will see what's happening. What are your experiences with cold exposure? Did you try it out already? Write down your experiences and thoughts down below in the comment section. You can watch this video next, or we will see each other in the next video. And until then, sayonara!